Should Africa be recolonized? Welcome to Mandela Unveiled. The name is Mandela. Eric Prince, in his interview, stated that it is time for the West to put back the imperialist hat and recolonize most of the countries, especially most part of Africa.
Then it's time for us to put the imperial hat back on to say, we're going to govern those countries if you're incapable of governing yourselves, because enough is enough. We're done being invaded.
Because our own national security risk is at stake.
Exactly.
National security interests are at stake.
You can say that about pretty much all of Africa. They're incapable of governing themselves and benefiting their citizens.
And you agree with his statement? He has come under condemnation by a lot in the left or the leftists for his statements. Some have called him imperialist. Some have called him so many names. Some have even taken the debate to the next level, trying to make a claim that the United States is trying to recolonize African countries. Well, are there any truth or merit to his statements? Now, this is the angle, or this is where I see Eric Prince's statements. One, he made a statement that it is time for them to put back the imperialist hat on, because most parts of Africa, the leaders do not care about their citizens. That is the first point. I agree with him. They loot the monies that the taxpayers pay in their countries. That is a second good point. 3, he says they go off to Paris and they spend the monies during their holidays. And that is a very good point. And 3, he says, it looks like we can't think for ourselves. Is that true? That is also true. It is absolutely true that we cannot think for ourselves. And he is spot on, in as much as he may sound very insulting. Hey, but that is very, very spot on. My dear brothers in Ghana, this no be the truth. Omo Manager people, this one is not the truth. It's certainly the truth. It is the truth because African leaders seek medical tourism in every developed country. The list goes on and on, from Patrice Talon to in Benin, the smallest country, to the mighty Nigeria, Buhari, who spent half of his presidency seeking medical treatment in the United Kingdom. At a point, the cost of parking the presidential jet at the Heathrow Airport in UK exceeded Nigeria's health budget for that year. Shouldn't such a country be recolonized? When someone describes such leaders as people who are incapable of thinking for themselves, should you get angry? No. Others are watching what is happening in your country. When the United States companies handed over the cobalt mines to the Chinese firms, when these Chinese firms paid huge amount of monies for infrastructural development and mineral rights in Democratic Republic of Congo, what happened to these monies? These monies were channeled to Joseph Kabila and his associates' personal account. And that led to his resignation in 2019. Isn't this the right thing? DRC is the richest country in the whole world in terms of natural resources. However, today, 23 million people are at risk of food insecurity and hunger per the United Nations estimation. Isn't this a country that need to be recolonized? Isn't this a country with leaders who cannot think? South Africa has been through load shedding. South Africa, since the ANC took over in 1994 till now, they have put more people in poverty. South Africa, under the ANC, has put more people on social insurance. About 28 million people in South Africa on social insurance. In 2023, South Africa, 2022, South Africa had the highest unemployment rate in the whole world, 45%. This country, Cyril Ramaphosa boasted about putting people on more social insurance. Does this look like a continent or a country that has leaders who think? Maybe South Africa should never go through apartheid, but if they are recolonized, probably it would be better. Nigeria has some of the most intelligent people on this continent, the most innovative, creative. Just mention what. However, Nigeria is considered one of the poorest countries in this world. They have the mineral resources, oil, abundance. What else? However, this is a country that has numerous security challenges, and no government has been able to fix the security situation. The military personnel fight insurgents, bandits, Boko Haram, without any form of medical insurance. They do not have any form of first aid following those military personnel. So like if anyone get injured, they can receive treatment. No. Once you die, you are dead. No form of insurance, compensation, no. This is a country where Fulani herdsmen can take their cattle to graze at the national stadium. Yes, Fulani herdsmen. This is a country where the leaders negotiate with terrorists and they want to pay them 100 billion naira and they want to pay it in installments. Even the United States, the most developed countries, never negotiate with terrorists. However, because Nigeria is such a corrupt country with corrupt leadership, they have decided to give terrorists or bandits 100 billion naira. And the sadness of the whole situation is, anytime these bandits are arrested, they look so wretched, they look tattered. Meanwhile, these bandits receive huge amount of money for ransom. So, assuming such bandits receive 10 million naira on 2 kidnapping situations, that alone is enough to change their situation. But anytime these bandits are arrested, they look tattered. That means that some people are behind this syndicate called kidnapping or banditry in the country, and they are not far from being politicians who are out there to milk their own country. That is why they can set aside 100 billion naira. I ask again, does this look like a country that can govern itself? Doesn't this look like a country that needs recolonization? Doesn't this look like a country that the leaders have no form of thinking? And the list goes on. Ghana claims to be the first country in the sub-Saharan of Africa to have gained independence. Ghana called itself the Black Star of Africa, the gateway to... However, so many countries have moved ahead of us. Vietnam encountered the Russians, they encountered the French, they encountered the Chinese, they encountered the United States. However, Vietnam is more developed, very stable, more progressive than any African country. This is a country that has gone through all this. What has African countries got to show? Egypt has borrowed and borrowed from the IMF, and Egypt is highly indebted to the IMF. If we say colonialism is something that is more of imperialistic idea, colonialism is not good. I give you a typical example. Ethiopia was never colonized. What is the situation of Ethiopia? Dear Africans, Eric Prince's statement is very spot on.
Because the governments there are all about looting and pillaging and lining their pockets and going shopping in Paris instead of actually making their country a better
People on the left are going to watch this. They're going to say, wait a minute, Eric Prince is talking about being a colonialist again.
Absolutely. Yes.
People can call him imperialist. People can call him whatever name they want. I ask Africans a simple question. Ethiopia was never colonized. What is the situation of Ethiopia today? Ethiopia is among the D list. And when I say D list, the list of defaulting countries. Zambia, Ghana, Ethiopia, Pakistan. Ethiopia has defaulted on its Eurobond loans. It can't pay them off. A lot of Ethiopians and Eritreans travel all the way to Saudi Arabia to engage in a lot of works that they would never do. Their human rights are taken away from them. Their dignity, they are stripped of every dignity. Was Ethiopia ever colonized? No. Even Ethiopian airline, which is well managed, is never under the leadership of the Ethiopian government. This is a privately owned enterprise. We don't seem to be able to manage anything that belongs to us. All we care about is to loot. Look at the amount of money Sani Abacha looted from Nigeria. In Kenya, only 8,000 people control the country. Only 8,000 people from the rich of the richest. The rest of the population are just mere average people and poor people. Kenya has one of the biggest slums in the whole world. And we can go on and on and on. Does this look like a continent that has leaders who can think for themselves? Just a few of the continent's leaders are doing something better. But a vast majority of the continent leaders, about 95% of the continent leaders, are visionless, and we need to be recolonized. Certainly, people are criticizing him, but people tend to forget that the United States never colonized a country. That is something a lot of people have forgotten. The United States was never involved in colonialism. The Germans, the Portuguese, the Spanish, the British, and the French, these people were involved in colonialism. And even after that, what next? Singapore was colonized. Hong Kong was given out to the British for 100 years. What is the state of those countries now? Singapore has decided to take their governance to another level, and that is science. Science is the truth. Science is facts. And that is what Singapore thrives on now. Africa barely invests or never invests in research, and they never invest in science. So we should never blame our problems on anyone. We always go cap in hand begging for aid. But at the end of the day, we are quick to blame the Bretton Woods institutions, that is the IMF and the World Bank. If you don't want them to set conditions for you, don't go to them in the first place. Because once you borrow money from someone, you are indebted to the person in one way or the other. And they have the right to dictate the terms of loans, because we have proven time and time again that we are incapable of thinking for ourselves. Should Africans be recolonized? What do you think? What is your take? Should we be recolonized? Let me hear your perspective in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification button so that anytime we post videos, you can get some. Hit the like, post our videos, share,